So
Well, hey,
that is,
and they're all questions about real estate and about your market. And for our viewers' sake, the idea is that as a coach, and I get to coach people all over the country, right? And I share a little bit about St. George, Utah, where I'm located. But I want people to be able to, one of the great things we have the opportunity to do, and I know you'll talk about this, is refer our clients, our friends, our family to other areas where there's great agents, right? One of the aspects of a great agent is that agent knows great agents all around the country. And I
yeah.
know that's one of the key components of your business is you get to refer people all over the country and you're very successful at doing it. So, but that is the intention of interviewing some of my great coaching clients and friends like you that are in different parts. So, number one, Tony, tell everyone who you are and where you're from, and just name and the area that you service in your main real estate business.
All right, Tony Farah here with Coldwell Banker Realty from the Twin Cities, Minnesota. I serve the Twin Cities. It's St. Paul and Minneapolis. And for those of you who are in the area, it's about an hour loop between the two cities and its suburbs. So it's fairly a large footprint of buyers and sellers that are looking to move into these markets. So
And absolutely beautiful where you are, especially right now, correct?
absolutely, yes.
Um, awesome. Yeah, Minnesota is one of the most beautiful states in the country. So Tony, tell us, remember, you get 90 seconds or less on each one of these questions. So it's the Dirty Dozen kind of a speed round. 90 seconds or less. Tell us just a little bit about your journey, how you got started, and what led you to where you are today. 90 seconds or less. Good luck.
Yeah, I
See how you
need
do with
like
that one.
9 million seconds. Anyway, about 10 years ago, I got into real estate so I could provide flexibility for my families with special needs. As many of you may know, our older son has autism. He's nonverbal. He's 19. 10 years ago, I needed that flexibility to provide extra therapy services for him as my wife was a full-time educator. So I got into real estate for that purpose. 6 months into it, I declared that I want to become a special needs specialist. You may say, what is that? And I'm like, I didn't even know back then,
Right.
honestly. I just declared it and I started engaging, contributing on social media. Word of mouth got really out there. And I picked up my first client from San Antonio, Texas, moving to Minnesota for special need services that consist of really three large pillars. People move for county supports, financial supports and services. They move for special education programs, whether it's through the public, the private, or the charter sector. And then they also move for third party resources that are very rare elsewhere. So, 10 years later, I'm proud to say that I'm also an author of storybooks, taking all that experience and cumbersome and extensive experience with multiple families, putting them into an illustration storybooks to help ease the process. Three storybooks, 10 years later, public speaker. I'm just amazed and grateful at the same time that 25% of my business comes from that lead source alone.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that part. I was going to say that's a big part of your business. So you service the because of your life experience as well as how you've incorporated that into your professional experience as a real estate agent. You really do specialize in serving the special needs community. And in addition, though, you do serve. You just said 75% of your business is non-special needs families.
Correct.
So for anyone that would move to your marketplace, Tony, question number two, share with the audience something unique about your market that people moving into it wouldn't expect or wouldn't know.
Dude, 10,000 lakes in the state of Minnesota. What more do you want?
That's where you
Right?
were this
So,
morning, right? Out walking. It's beautiful.
totally, totally. That's one. We've got all major sports in here, obviously, between basketball, hockey, football, baseball. We've got a tremendous culture I'd say we're known for Minnesota nice, and that gets out there really fast. We're also known for the four seasons, right? It's either the extreme or on both
Right.
ends. So it's either gets really hot and humid in the summer, or it gets so damn cold that you just want to snuggle all day long. Those are kind of the top three why I would encourage people to really say, oh my God, Minnesota's got to be nice. Cost of living is apparently affordable up
Mhm.
here if you just handle the cold. Don't worry about moving from one building to the next. We're also known for these skyways where they connect big towers. So, and we've got some underground as well, but we're known for that, so yeah, don't be afraid to say, "Oh my God, why would I want to move to Minnesota?" Minnesota is
So
amazing, and
it makes sense to me, Tony, that you guys would have the underground and the
yeah,
above ground connecting buildings because of the weather during the winter.
right,
But that is something that I didn't actually know. Like literally, you just said that, and I said, "Oh, yeah, that's true." I've been in some snow markets, and
uh-huh.
they do have that, but I wouldn't have. I didn't even think about it for Minnesota. But that is good to know because you don't always have to be out in the elements.
Yeah,
That's what you're getting at, right?
I,
To be able to move about.
next time you come up here, I want you to come in the middle of winter so we can go on a ride on a lake.
Hey, no, hey, no, that's okay. I'll find other places. No, I'm kidding. It's Minnesota. I've been there in the winter. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's, I don't know. God made this whole world, I think. And
Yeah,
based on that, though, every like in your market, like yes, you guys have the extremes of the weather, but you live in literally one of the most beautiful states in the whole country. So, question number three, Tony, what do you love most about serving your community through real estate?
just listening. I think when you listen with attention,
Hmm.
you understand the buyers and the sellers' needs. Kind of put yourself in their shoes. Walk in their shoes for a moment to understand what their struggle is, what their challenges are. I'm grateful and honored to be in that position, to have that level of patience, to really be in their shoes, in their seat, and drive that conversation. And at the end of the day, they're trying to solve a problem. And if we don't have the solutions, if we don't have alternatives for them, they could go somewhere else.
Sure.
So to me, that's one that stands out right off the back, is put yourself in their shoes. What's in it for them? Why should they hire you when they have multiple options, right? So um, being the passenger before you become the driver, I think is super important in that part of the
I
business.
love it. Ask great questions, be curious, find out what their wants, needs, and desires are, help them create a plan and a solution to whatever those wants and needs are, and then help them execute it. Is that basically what we do when we do it
That's
well?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. We just hope people will trust us to let us guide and
Well,
direct them through the process, right?
the market is so wide and so big, sometimes, many times, where just like the customer is interviewing agents to see if they are a good fit, we
Mhm.
are also interviewing people as well to see if we are a good fit. It's
Right.
not fair just to take any, but also it's also fair that to line up those values as well at the end of the day. So
Awesome. I love it. All right, question number four. So if I was a buyer coming to your market, what is one thing that it would be absolutely essential that I know about buying real estate in your market?
well, we talk about the three areas. What makes a buying process so seamless and easy, right? Is having the resources available. So if a buyer is sitting down with a realtor agent, with a real estate agent, they need to understand what is the process from A to Z. What is it going to take? Who are the players? Who is involved, right?
Mhm.
So bring in the title person, we bring in the mortgage person as well. Many times, we find it interesting when buyers request a showing. They don't even have a pre-approval letter. They don't even know where their finance are to begin with. They start looking at $1 million homes. Well, certainly they're not pre-qualified for that amount, but they're just curious about that. So kind of glad that NAR came up with the new rules that we can't go out before we have a signed agreement. So I think a buyer consultation is really important, just like it is with any seller presentation. So I think it's fair to really understand the process before you get into the car and start looking at homes.
Yeah, I agree. And I appreciate the new process as well, and it creates an environment where we really it doesn't seem as much like we're pushing for something for our sake, but we're creating an environment where through the buyer consultation, the buyer becomes better educated and will have a better experience through it.
Hmm.
So an agent like you and hopefully myself, if we do those buyer consultations, take them serious, and we sit down and go through that process, we're in a better position to serve the client and ultimately them having the greatest experience possible. That's what I hear you saying. Yeah,
Absolutely,
I love it.
yes.
All right, question number six. So, what local, or question number five, similar to four, but what's one thing you think, well, we can't miss it, it's the dirty dozen.
Yeah,
What's one thing that you think clients wish they knew before they started the process with you?
it's not done until it's done.
Mm,
A lot of times we have buyers, if we submit a purchase agreement, they start looking at furnitures. What do I want to buy? And then some of them would go ahead and
on
buy. And then all of a
credit,
sudden they pull a soft credit out,
you're
and then
right.
guess what? The deal that falls apart. Right. So I always say it's not done until it's done. I give them heads up. Please do not go out on a shopping frenzy mode. We have to get the signatures, and that's when it's done. That's when you can do everything you need. So to me is it's important, and I constantly remind them of that. So, and it's part of the buyer consultation as well. When we sit down, we go through the timeline. But yeah, it's not done until it's done.
Awesome. I love that. You know what's coming and you can keep them on the right track. I love that. All right. We are right on schedule. So, question number six. What local traditions, neighborhoods, or hidden gems make your city feel like home? Tell us something special about the Twin Cities, Tony.
We're seeing a lot of community involvement. It's not involvement, it's community involvements. Basically, these smaller cities on the outskirt of the Minneapolis and St. Paul are just really growing like crazy. So they're growing from a development perspective. They're bringing stadiums into them. They're bringing single mom shops where people get an opportunity to walk, and it's not that this huge mall where you have everything. So we're seeing where they're kind of trying to keep people in their cities and bring all amenities closer to them, and then because that will eventually attract outsiders as well. Like, for example, the city of Blaine is about 25 minutes north of the Twin Cities, north of Minneapolis. That is, it has the TPC, which is tournament player circle, where what is it, the annual golf event.
Mhm.
Uh, TPG happens every year, and you've got people coming from around the globe. It's a beautiful setting. So now that city by itself, they're adding more amenities to include a baseball stadium, to include a couple hotels, to include many restaurants, and obviously the breweries are everywhere. That's something that has become kind of like a landmark in the Twin Cities here, from an alcohol perspective. But we're seeing, cities like that. Then you move down south to a city that's called Rosemont, and then they're bringing developments like Amazon is putting a huge type of a distribution down there as well. And then you move downtown into the rural area or urban areas, that is, and then you've got high rise condos, the nightlife, and then the many restaurants and coffee shops and etc. within walking distance as well. So you've got a mix of amenity evolvements throughout the Twin Cities and beyond.
I love it. So you're saying there's some great planning going on, and the execution of it is actually drawing people in. Because what I
Mhm.
heard, the first thing that you said was they're trying to keep people in the environments. I love that in the sense that if people live and work or live and socialize and experience their community, you actually build a community of people who know each other, right? And
Absolutely.
it's a closer knit, and people care and they care for the community. They look out for each other. Is that what it's doing?
It's part of the city's economic development plan. So
I love it.
some cities have they call it the 2040 plan, where they kind of envision what the city's development is going to look like
Mhm.
in the next 10, 20, 30
Yeah.
years. So, and it is just the planning and the developments and the execution of it.
Excellent. I love it. All right. Question number 7. Every great agent, we know what your thing is, but every great agent has a thing. What do your clients say sets you apart?
Um, what?
And only one. Hold on. Anybody who's listening, look, there's 100, but Tony, you only get to pick one, and there really are. You have so many great. I mean, you're so awesome in so many ways. But what's the number one thing that you think people would say?
I'm a trustworthy, and I say that with a full confidence. And here's why: because people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Hmm.
I'm able to develop a niche in this real estate industry that would help people trust me right out of the gate.
Awesome.
And you may
So,
ask,
yeah.
well, what makes me say that is, again, I kind of talk the walk and walk the
Mhm.
talk. You've seen my
Right.
heard my stories, and I've been around for 10 plus years in the special need communities. So people tend to really lean in to my experience, lean into my
Mhm.
expertise, lean into the kind of work that I'm going to deliver for them. So I think trust would be number one.
Yeah. Dude, they hear your words and they feel your heart, and you're smart, and you know your market, and you know that you have the experience to share and give them guidance. So yeah, I would agree. Trust is one of your greatest attributes, my friend. All right, number 8. What's one experience with a client that really stuck with you? What's one story you can tell us?
Oh my
You
gosh.
got a bunch, but
There's many, but this one really still hinders around my brain. December 31st, we're sitting on a table, closing table. I represent the buyer. The seller is a veteran lady, comes in, decides does not want to sell the duplex anymore.
at the
December
closing table,
31st, on the
at the closing
at
table.
the closing
Wow.
table. And then my buyer started crying. We had to exit the room. We had to separate the parties. That was pre-COVID, when all the parties would come, that both agents would sit on the same table.
Hmm.
God, and we had to exit the table. And I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I can't put a gun in the seller's head. They're like, no, you have to perform. She's like, she didn't care about the earnest money. She just like had that moment, right? And then we had to take a step back, both agents, myself and the other agents, and we kind of secluded ourselves in an office, and we started kind of conversation. What makes your seller say that? I needed to understand, is there something that is so sentimental about this duplex that, and the truth be told, yes, her husband built it and he passed since, so there's a lot of memories in there. So we had to kind of go around a huge circle to say, life must go on. You've built a nice paradise, a nice castle. I had to kind of uplift her, and now it's somebody else's time. Now it's somebody else's turn. This is my client. She's young, excited about continuing on your dream, blah blah blah. And she looked at me. She's like, okay, that makes total sense. I can't be around forever. Okay, where do I sign? So
That's
so that was a heck.
wild.
That
So
was
it had nothing to do with
no,
money. She was
nothing.
fully
No.
emotional that she was having to release the connection of something that mattered emotionally to her because of her husband building it, and
Yep.
she literally walked in and just like sort of lost her mind and said, "I can't do it. I can't sell." That's wild. Great job, man. You and the other
Yeah.
agent. But yeah, great job walking her through that. But
Uh,
that's crazy. It usually has to do with money, right? Not
yeah.
usually, that, but that's an interesting
No,
story.
it was
That's
her
cool on
experience.
both ends, man. That's good. All right, that's fun. You got it done. So, all right, if you could give, well, actually, number 9, what's something happening in your local market right now that buyers or sellers need to pay attention to?
Um, that's a very good question. God, there's a lot of things happening right now. Honestly, we're seeing inventory rise up, increase a little bit per
Mhm.
price point across the board. Anything close to the $1 million mark is definitely sitting on the market longer. Um, I think they need to really set a realistic expectations. So if I'm a seller needs to understand that the market is shifting, and uh, what used to sell faster 2, 3 years ago is taking a bit uh, and longer. The on and then getting being ready for the market. It kind of like they have to do their due diligence from a planning perspective, from an objective, from a goal perspective as well. What do they expect? And they need to kind of like right now, what we're seeing is two kinds of buyers, and then these sellers need to be ready for them. The one buyer is the pre-qualified, does not have enough capital or barely has enough capital to get into a purchase, and they're well qualified. But then on the flip side, we have these investors like that they're looking for a steal. So you get these type of buyers out in the market right now. That's kind of um, weird, but buyers need to also understand that there's no such a thing as a deal. Even though inventory is still increasing slightly, it's still a seller's market right now. And I posted on my Instagram yesterday and I said, renters are paying 100% interest and making someone else's wealth, while a homeowner is paying 7% interest and making their own wealth. So don't wait to buy real estate and wait.
Amen. I love that. That's great advice. And Tony, question number 10 is very similar. So I think you just answered it. But if you could give one piece of advice to someone looking to buy or sell in your area, what would it be? And I think you just answered that question with the previous one. Would you agree?
Totally, yes,
Yeah.
1000%.
All right. Hey, so tell me this. What's this one's going to be hard too because you love everybody. But what's your favorite kind of client to work with and why?
Are we talking buyers or sellers?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
You,
matter.
no, you line them up, you get to work with them, and if you could pick one, it would be them. Now, again, for anyone listening, if you don't fall into this category, don't feel like Tony doesn't love you and he doesn't want to work with you because he loves all of you. But if you could pick one type of client, it could be from from the idea that you get to help a special needs family navigate through their their unique challenges, or it could be like I'll tell you for me. I'm interviewing you, but I'll give you an example. If you ask me what my favorite kind of client is, one that's clear, focused, has the money, can get the money, and will take my guidance and advice. Bam, let's get it done. That's me.
Mhm.
But see, I have a feeling your answer might be a little bit different. So take it away.
I say one word would be integrity.
Okay.
If and I say that because we lean in on a lot of tools in our real estate industry. One of them is a platform that I send out to buyers and sellers, and it's got, if they're buyers, it's got like the pre-approval process. It's got the buying process embedded in it. It's got a short video about me. It's less than 5 minutes, and it's got a video from my lender as well. You're kind of explaining the process as well. It's got my storybook folder as well. And then on the sell side, it's got my pre-marketing plan. This is what we're going to do from day one. We're going to sit down, come up with a strategy session, and we're going to come up with a plan when we take pictures, when we execute the listing, and then what that entails. And then what's unique about this platform it gives me a notification if those customers have opened them, how long they were in there. And to me, I say integrity because that's the first question that I ask when I meet them face to face. Have you had a chance to look at the pre-marketing plan? And then if they have, I would have known already coming into the appointments, knowing that yes, I'm going to get these responses. They're going to match. If they don't match, then I have to adjust my time in that house, and it'll be a quick in and out, and then no hard feelings. We just move along, right?
Yeah.
Move forward. And then same thing with the buyers. If they're not interested in what they're getting themselves into, I don't know that I'm going to be interested in them. So it's being interested versus interesting,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
about that in a lot of our coaching conferences. is two different things. So yes, I want to be interested in what they have to say, but if they're not going to be interested in what I have to share with them to educate them on the process, then I'm not sure we're going to be a good fit for them.
Gotcha.
On the flip side, those that are sit down, I'm like, oh my God, I did not know about your special needs and I didn't know you're an author. And I'm like, hey, you know what? We're going all in and they're getting 150% of my service.
I love it. Great answer. And you know, there's too many agents in the world of real estate who don't have clarity in who they best serve and who they want to work with and the best relationship to work with certain people. And they're willing to try and work with anyone, and they don't even have the perspective that they're doing it that way,
Yeah.
and it becomes a struggle or a challenge in various ways, and they don't realize that you're really just not matched up well with the particular clients that you're trying to work with. And you know, if you can identify who your best client is, you will be able to be the best agent to them, and it works out better for everyone. And the truth is, life in real estate can be a lot smoother and overall much better for everyone involved. So
Amen.
I love your answer, that clarity. All right, Tony, we're right on schedule. We got two questions left. So number 12, we're at a dozen, but we're doing a dirty dozen. So number 12, what do you believe makes, and this is right in your wheelhouse, by the way, what do you believe makes a great agent to agent partnership when clients are relocating? So how do what makes a perfect partnership between you and the agent that referred you or you referred business to? 90 seconds or less, sir.
No, that's a very good question. 90-second or less is, I've done many relocations, and I think it's relationship, it's communication, and it's staying on top of your game. So when a client is relocating from a state to a state, I've had clients that have relocated 2.5 years ago, and I stayed in touch with the agent. And even though the relocation referral went along 2.5 years ago, it's staying in touch, sharing what's important to the clients, reminding that agents that's working with my past clients what's important to them goes a long way as well. It's the benefit of having two agents work on your behalf versus one. I think that's my strategy. That's my approach. And if somebody's relocating to my state as well, I do the same thing with these agents as well. I stay on top of it, and I share with them if we're struggling to get some points across. A lot of times, leaning into the original referred agents
Mhm.
goes a long way. And that's why we get paid, and that's how we get paid, by clear collaboration, that is. So
Clear,
if that's
clear,
not
clear. I like that. That's a term that's a different term, right? Clear collaboration. I love that. That's a good play on clear cooperation, which
yeah,
I don't necessarily love the clear cooperation, but I do love the
no, me
clear
neither.
collaboration. That part's excellent.
Collaboration goes a long
Um,
way.
well, and what I heard in that, Tony, is great communication, and when both parties take the relationship and the outcome very seriously, and not just hand it off or disconnect from it, but stay engaged and involved to walk the people through completely, they feel most supported.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so great communication. All right, question number 13. If someone is relocating to your area and wants to feel instantly at home, what would your first recommendation to help them settle in be?
If I represent them as a client, we throw in a housewarming party
Mhm.
basically, and that's where we invite the neighbors over. And especially if they are special need families, it's important to have more than two sets of eyes around the neighborhood that they just moved in. So
Okay.
to me, is a housewarming party. It will warm them up to the neighborhoods, to the area, and plus having their agents there present to help break the ice with the neighbors. I think that goes a long way. It has worked from day one, and it continues to work for me as well. I even throw my annual events in my own backyard where I continue to invite my own neighbors, my past clients, my friends and families, and I get about 130, 135 every year in my backyard, which is back here, by the
I
way.
love it. Hey, and look at that. It's nice and green and pretty right now. We love
Oh,
that.
it,
I don't
it's
see
a
any snow. Where's the snow, Tony?
right.
Hey,
So yeah, so that goes a long way. It's anything to put people at ease and help them find their missing piece. Kind of that's my tagline, but it's kind of what I do and what I love to do, and I wish many agents would just implement that because people deserve better service.
well, Tony, do me a favor, and before we wrap, tell everyone again who you are, where you're from, how they can find you through your website and or a YouTube channel or something. And just tell them how to get in touch with you if they are moving to, if they know anyone that's moving to the Twin Cities area or anywhere in Minnesota for that matter, or if they know anyone there that's already located there, how they can get in touch with you.
Well, I appreciate your time first, Coach Joe. We did it in half hour exactly. Talk about punctuality. So you're awesome with that. I appreciate the time to really share bits and pieces about my business, about my experience as a special needs specialist. Super proud to be bringing a change to our industry that is in dire need. So Tony Farah from the Twin Cities in Minnesota. My phone number 612-532-1685. My website is tonyfarah.com. It's so easy to remember.
Right.
I've got all my social media tags on there. I would love to connect, reach out with any questions you have. If you have a family relocating to the state, rest assured they are in good hands and a big heart, and we'll go all the way in to make sure that they are satisfied. And then that's that. You know, if we are not connected yet, please reach out as well. And then I'd love to follow you on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. So that's that.
I love it. Well, Tony, you survived the Dirty Dozen. I'm exposing real estate agents all over the country, and you got to make it through the Dirty Dozen to get exposed, and you did it, my friend.
I
So
did it.
thank you so much.
Woohoo!
You did it. I appreciate you. You know I love you, my brother. My brother from another mother. He's my Tony's my Lebanese brother, and you have dude. There's so much more to share. We could get on here. We need to do a podcast, like a 3 hour podcast deal, and
Real.
just talk about all the things that make up your life and all there is to share about Tony Farah and your family too. But anyway, I thank you for your time today, Tony, and we'll just keep all this rolling. Let's keep serving
You got
people and
it.
making people's lives better. I appreciate you, my friend. Cutting out.
Thank you.